Well, hello there, friend, viewer. I hope you're having a nice time. I hope your relationship with God is prospering very well. And today, I want us to talk about activism and where it leads the country. Personally, I believe that most activists are not empowered or they're not driven with the correct motives for their activism. You have seen this in the US mostly, where people do a lot of virtue signaling. So you're doing something so that other people can see that you really care, but in the real sense, you do not care. And I don't know who lied to the current generation that everyone has to be an activist. Because everyone, apparently, I'm not saying it's bad to have TikTok, I think it's a privilege from God. But most of us are using it in very destructive ways, very unuseful ways. People who know very less about topics, maybe people who have read a book or maybe people have read an article about something, they do not even consult people who are well conversed in that knowledge, are already picking up the phones and picking up videos. I'm not talking about me, of course, I'm special, but anyway, activism in itself is not a bad thing. My problem is with activists who do not know what they're talking about. Today, we're going to review video from a lady in TikTok who spoke about the Christian faith. And I want us to go through it step by step. It's a short video, so I hope it will be okay. Let's begin. Yeah, here's the video. So yeah, I want us to look at this video. This is the video I'm talking about. Now, this lady is going to tell us how Christianity aided colonization. Now watch.
Of missionaries in colonization, and I want to read it out for you guys. Like hizi vitu sio mi nimeandika, hivi ndo zimeandikwa. Sawa. Haya. The missionaries had a leading role in Britain's civilizing mission in Kenya, as they did throughout most of the empire. Missionaries were determined to convert the Africans not just to Christianity, but to an entire Western way of life.
Okay, so she is making the first statement that she's reading from the book I made that Christians was the missionaries were supposed to convert Christians not only to a religion but an entire Western way of life. Now, we have to agree, we have to remember that during that time, the Western way of life was not full of liberals or satanic liberals. It was a predominantly Christian time. So I see no problem with that. And them wanting to convert Africans into Christianity is also a good thing. Let us go on.
They competed with one another for African souls, with each denomination carrying out its
So you can say that she's having a lot of like there is this tag she's written in red. They competed for souls. Like how is that a bad thing? Like the way the Bible says that those who do not believe in God are in the darkness. Like they're totally clueless. This is just a good example. She's writing there in red. They competed for souls. It's like it's a bad thing. Let's carry on.
own spheres of influence throughout Britain's colonies. In the Kikuyu reserves, the Presbyterians, the Anglicans, the Methodists, and the Catholics dominated the Christian scene, establishing
Mhm.
mission stations which included churches, schools, and medical clinics, condemning
So churches, schools, and medical clinics. Church take us out of paganism. Schools help us be attuned to um, modern civilization. Clinics treat our illnesses. So, we will stop dying from malaria. Or let us continue and listen.
the heathenism. Yani they considered as
Come on, come on. A heathen is not a bad word. We can even look it up. Heathen, a person who does not have knowledge of the God of the Bible. So that is what a heathen means. So she thinks heathenism is derogatory. And let us just walk through that logic. If you think about it, if heathenism to her is something that is derogatory, but you've seen that heathenism or a heathen is someone who practices things that are pagan in nature, then isn't it a good thing to be called a heathen and come from being a heathen? Like, okay,
heathens. condemning the heathenism of Kikuyu religious and cultural practices, and preaching the values of Christianity, commerce, and civilization. For the colonial
So no bad thing so far. Condemning the QQ practices and teaching Christian, but okay,
government,
I'm okay with
missionaries
that.
offered civilization on the cheap. So these white missionaries were just being used as pawns, basically, just to advance colonization.
So okay, I'm not denying the fact that people in the past have used Christianity in wrong ways, or maybe the predatory government used the missionaries to reach their influence and all the things. I'm not denying that fact. So
um, to the degree that any education or welfare services were provided to the local African population, they were delivered largely by missionaries. Of course, the Africans would have to pay school fees and healthcare costs. In fact, to earn the right to buy these services, hapa sasa ndo nataka mnisikize vizuri. Of course, the Africans would have to pay fees and healthcare costs. In fact, to earn the right to buy these services, the Kikuyu, like all other colonial subjects, had to renounce their own religion and convert to Christianity.
so like I said, she is making a solid point here. Like it's sort of like a coercion for people to join Christianity. Like if you do not do this, we will not afford you the certain. Okay, and now people have used Christianity in very wrong ways, and I do not agree with that. I truly agree that it was wrong for them to coerce people, according to that historian, because the way she's writing, she seems to be a liberal, so I don't really trust her. But yeah, the governments can use people to enhance their nini and their agendas, and people are tied to them. So you'll have to compromise something so that you can spread an important or a useful message to people. You have to sort of like sacrifice something. But when you come to think about it, if the Kikuyus had all that they need, because as we are going to the end of this video, you'll see like she's trying to insinuate that the African culture was very perfect. But if the African culture was very perfect, why were they so so in need of the infrastructure which the colonizers was setting up to the point that they had to succumb to coercion? But let us see.
I hope mmenipata vizuri.
Mhm.
Haya. Now, I just want to pose the question to you, a Kenyan Christian.
Now, this is where we're about to get nerdy in Bible stuff. So this is a question. If you're a Christian, you better get ready.
Today, modern day Kenyan Christian. Why on earth are you a Christian?
Why am I a Christian? Why am I a Christian? Because it's the religion of truth.
I don't get it. I don't understand how you can reconcile the atrocities of colonization and you, as an African individual who is still an
So how can I reconcile the atrocities of colonization with Christianity? Like I've said, I agree. I do agree that people have used in the past, and people are even currently using. Like we hear about cult leaders and all these things. Now, this is how I will answer. How can we reconcile the fact that girls were being married off at very early ages in the African traditional society? The fact that boys were being sodomized in the coastline of Kenya, and it was a normal practice. The fact that these our traditional, our proud grandfathers, our perfect forefathers, they are the ones who participated in the slave trade. They're the ones who actually sold people, their own kinsmen, to the traders, to the slave traders. How do we reconcile that? Let us continue.
until today paying heavily in terms of like the amount of trauma that you have, in terms of the
So, okay, guys, I was really trying so hard not to point this out, but the bull ring theory, guys, the nose ring theory. So she's saying that she has a lot of trauma from what the colonizers did. Now, let us just unpack this. What does she mean by trauma? And if she means what I think she means by trauma, how is she still affected by what the colonizers did? Like, how is she directly? What trauma is she going through? I'm still wondering, but you'll hear about it uh, kidogo tu, a little bit.
type of life that you're living. You're living a capitalist, hetero, patriarchal.
Nice. Here now comes the problem. This lady is full of woke Western ideologies. She said that we are living a very bad life. And what bad life is that? A capitalistic, okay, capitalistic life and a heteropatriarchal. So, guys, I had to look up the meaning of heteropatriarchal, but you can do it again. Heteropatriarchal, a social-political system where cisgender heterosexual men hold dominant power, marginalizing women, LGBTQ individuals, and normative identity. So this is a woke person, guys, ladies and gentlemen, and she actually has a problem with our leaders being normal and our leaders being upright in their sexuality. So I don't see any problem with an heteropatriarchal system, and I will definitely don't prefer a satanic feministic system. And there are also heteropatriarchal systems that are satanist, that are full of satanists, but you get my point. So capitalism, people are really funny. This lady can now book a flight and take a one-way ticket to China and live there while she's still in Kenya making noise about capitalism. She can go to Russia and live there while she's still in Kenya making noise about capitalism. This is what I was talking about at the beginning. People pretending that they really care, but in the instance, they're only virtue signaling. They have not yet sat down and thought through stuff. I've realized that nowadays, people just project. They just project whatever is going on in their life. The world, and this is the paradox of a man. You went through a very bad life, maybe during your childhood, you were abused and things like that. Maybe your father was not there, maybe your mother abandoned you. You grew up in a dysfunctional family. Now, you've reached a point where you do not want to address your pain. The only best thing you can do is to poke and just project that pain, that dysfunction to the world. So I've come to notice that most people who are activists, they have this mentality that the problem is not within, the problem is always without. Like there is always someone else who has that problem. That is why they don't think things through and they just speak so that they can incite people, or they speak out of emotion, but they do not really do their own research.
Western way of life, and it's all pegged on the fact that your ancestors had to give up their own cultural ways of living in
I'm not actually sad about that, man. She's talking about that, and when you look at this room that she's living in, it's built with concrete. It has nice doors. It has a cupboard for books. She's reading. Remember, our ancestors did not have any written language because she's a Kikuyu. They did not have any written language before the Europeans come. But now, she's apparently very sad that our ancestors had to stop going to the bush and start using toilets. They had to adopt electricity. They had to stop marrying off their young daughters who do not even reach puberty at times, to old men. Hmm? They had to be stable and not wait for famine to die. They had to adopt like good technologies, good inventions. They built the railway system. They built hospitals. They had to escape their witchcraft. Guys, I don't know. Well, let's go on.
order to get access to schools and healthcare.
And I know she's still going to school, guys. Like she's now an adult. She can even decide to drop out. But she somehow this bad school that um was was an European concept, something that ruined her very good culture. I know by now she would be having 7 children, but anyway, if she were in the traditional life, but it's okay. She's still complaining about it, but she's still going. She's still using her phone. She's still using electricity. She can speak eloquently. Let us continue.
Yani waliuza dini yao na what are they called? What is culture called in Kiswahili? Waliuza how they were able to be and sustain themselves and their cultures and their values and all of that for education and healthcare purposes. And then now you, in this day and age, with your thinking mind, your educated brain, you're still perpetuating this religion that was used as a tool against them. I don't get it. I will never get it. I don't even want to argue, actually. I don't
Hmm.
even want to argue. So, like, I was just putting it out there. Maybe kuna mtu italand, I
Yeah, that's okay. Wairara. See, she got 3,000 likes, including from me. She'll not probably unlike that. Let us look at the comment section before I sort of like complete and answer this. So hapa I see Mwachamila ni mtumwa. Kim from Adipe can tell she's a lady. And I can also tell that she's ignorant because um, the way she has been socialized and the way she has grown up, I am sure she would not prefer the old life to this one. So that's a lie. This is one of the important TikToks of modern times. It is very clear. I think he meant to say clear in everyone's mind, or most religion, or most that religion needs to go. Uh, I want to address that in a short while. So this is a very good question. I've wrestled with it and I still am. The churches stand from a crutch to a full on pillar in the Kenyan society. Many church folks say forget the past and forget and forgive yada yada, but it's not that simple. Oh wow. Zima Blue. I guess you're really going through a lot of stuff. I guess you're really going through a lot of stuff. Anyway, let me answer her question and let us begin in the book of Genesis. Guys, I know we have a lot of differences right now, culture wise and everything. Like, we are different. But believe me, or you, we are different. But believe me when I tell you that it has not always been this way. Now, I know this, some people think this is a fairy tale, but this is the most logic way to explain creation. I mean, science is more of a fairy tale. Like modern science is more of a fairy tale than what the Bible teaches. So we begin from Genesis chapter 1, from verse 26. Let me expand it for you guys. I'm sorry if you couldn't see from the initial video because I forgot this. So from verse 26 to 28. So, and it says, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish, the sea, and over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all earth, and over every creeping thing. Now, I want you to have a keen understanding. I want you to look at this keenly. God is saying that He wants to create man, and what is He giving him? Dominion. And what is his territory? The entire earth. So man was created to be a king and to serve under God. Let us look at verse 27. So God made man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. Verse 28. And God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, over every living thing that moveth on the earth. So God is essentially crowning Adam. Okay, let us now we have established that number one, Adam was the king of the earth, and all humankind, they were royalty. But something happened, something unexpected happened. The fall came. Let us see. Yes, now when you go to chapter 3, Genesis, we found that this is where the woman followed the serpent, the devil, in essence, and he took the tree to Adam, and also Adam ate. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? Because in chapter 1, we say Adam is a king, and that was our destiny as human beings to rule with God. Like we serve under God as royalty and to rule over all creation. No suffering, no pain, no. perfect balance. Like the world was in God's order, perfect balance. Let us see what happened after Adam sins. So let us go to Romans chapter 6. Romans, Romans 6. So you'll quickly realize that Romans chapter 6 and verse 23. So you'll quickly realize that, no, Romans chapter 6, 16, yeah. You realize that, let us read this verse first. Know ye not that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey. So essentially, whom you obey, you are a servant to that person, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. So Christ is saying you are a servant whether unto sin, whether of sin unto death, that is, whether you choose to obey the devil, the flesh, or of obedience and unto righteousness, whether you choose to follow the ways of God. So God is saying you are a slave to who you obey. So Adam obeyed the devil, and as a result, he lost his estate. He lost his dominion. Now stay with me. Let us go to the book of Second Corinthians, chapter 4. Second Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 4. Listen to what is told here. Now, Adam was the ruler of the world. But now listen to Second Corinthians chapter 4. In whom, so speaking about the devil, this is what Paul is saying. In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. So Satan here is referred to as the God of this world. Notice the God is in small g. So Satan is now the ruler. And to further cement this, I want us to go to Luke, Luke chapter 4 and verse 5. I want you to see something. And the devil, taking him up on a high mountain, showed unto him all kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. So the devil is tempting Christ and is showing him stuff. I want you to draw attention to verse 7, verse, verse 6. And the devil said unto him, all this power I will give thee. Now notice, and the glory of them, in here, for that is delivered unto me, and whomsoever I will, I give it. So the devil is telling him all these kingdoms of the earth, everything in it is delivered unto him. Who delivered it unto him? It was Adam. So the reason why I follow Christianity is because man was created perfect, man fell into sin. And then after that, God said, when you sin, you will die. Romans chapter 6, verse 23. Let us just quickly go there. Let us begin with Romans chapter 3, verse 23. Romans 23, 3:23. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So everyone sinned. And God told Adam, the day you sin, you will die. So it is not only the physical death, but also the eternal death. But God, and that is also affirmed even in Romans chapter 6, verse 23. Let us get there quick. Romans 6:23. It says, for the wages of sin is death. But now God had to do something because he loved us. He had to fix this problem. But the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ, our Lord. John 3:16, guys. John 3:16. I already know you're reciting it in your heart. John 3:16. It says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Jesus is not a European, please. Jesus has ethnic origin in Jews. Jesus was a Jew. So when you're telling me that Christianity was used by the Christianity did not originate in Europe, please. Christianity was in Africa before it was in Europe. So stop lying. Do your research. Do your research. People use religions for bad reasons. The Muslims terrorize the entire world. They kill Christians. They conquer people. In their countries, they kill women. So religion is a tool. And I'm not here selling you religion. I'm selling you Jesus Christ. So let go of what the Europeans did. The real question is, are you ready to meet Christ? If the world ended today, are you ready to meet Christ? Or will you be naked before him and you'll be consigned to hell? Think about that. Prepare to meet Christ. Christ loves you. Christ died for your sin.